Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and what I'm showing you is when I rolled over at 4:57 a.m. this morning and watched XRP hit $1. Okay, I just happened to wake up and I rolled over and I saw XRP approaching $1. I thought about getting out of bed and doing a video, but I was just too worn out. I think I was still on Arizona time trying to get my body caught up to the clock that I'm used to. But anyway, I rolled over and saw this $1. I'm very excited. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you because I think this has always divided up into two pictures, or there's two things that are in play here. The first thing is we're all watching Coin Market Cap and we're all getting excited about the prices going up and all of that. But then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the bigger picture, okay? Because I'm not here for $1. I'm not even here for $10. I'm here for what I know XRP really is. And I'm going to remind you of what that is. Okay, but first, let's go through the green candles and all the fun stuff for today. I wanted to bring this out. XRP's up it's up 500% on the year with an SEC lawsuit and nobody ever mentioning it, and of course it being hated by everyone in all the Bitcoin maxis, even those that secretly own it. Okay, I won't say any names. It said Bitcoin is up 750% with a constant traditional media parade and a constant flow of Bitcoin maxi guests that won't talk about anything but Bitcoin. It was always XRP. I stand by that. It was always XRP. And this thing has not, I would compare it to a racehorse, and the gate has not even been opened yet. This is the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. There is no, what the timeline is, who knows? But I think that this, I won't even call it this industry. I believe what another guy's going to refer to later in this video as the fourth turning. I believe that the fourth turning is in the midst of happening, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in a minute. But I think XRP has everything to do with it and always has. So here we go. But let's look at this is Coin Market Cap. Let's take a look. We are right at almost 2 trillion in this market. We've got a $1.03 XRP up 42% in the last 24 hours, 75% in the last 7 days. Now it's always fun for me to also look at Coin Paprika so we can see the return rates. Right now you've got a 458% XRP. Earlier this showed 500%, so I'll just go with that. They're showing XRP at $1.07 right now, up 85% in 7 days, 125% in 30 days, 356 in a quarter. Now, but to me, it is so telling to look at those numbers. Look at these numbers. All of the benefits that Bitcoin gets. That's all the media, that's all they'll talk about on CNBC. And my contention is that they all know that it's not the one. They've always known it's not the one. They know what Bitcoin is and what it is not. I talk about it on this channel all the time. And it's always been XRP, because XRP can help to build the digital infrastructure. Bitcoin cannot, and they all know it. XRP they are in the process of, I'll show it to you again. But anyway, the point is that this, I don't know why the price is starting to surge. I have my hunches. I'll tell you my hunches. One hunch is the potential that someone knows something, someone out there somewhere in the world knows something about where this SEC, that there may be some kind of an SEC something settlement. I don't know. Maybe there's some, maybe not. My other theory is that someone out there might know that there could be some exchanges that might be relisting soon, a Coinbase or something like that. That's possible too. But the one thing that I am not naive enough to believe in this world, especially in the digital currency world, is that there aren't powerful people and rich people that don't know things that you and I don't know behind the scenes. That is the case, okay? That's the fact, Jack. All right, so this, with an SEC case, the way that the price has been surging, it has to make you wonder what somebody out there might know. Now, while we're here, I wanted to show you what happened the last time that XRP was surging like this and crossed $1. This was back, and I was there. At the time, I had my XRP on Bitstamp, and I was watching the app. I watched it as it happened. These are the closing prices right here. It was December 21st. Let me make sure that's the date. Yeah. It was 77 cents on December 20th. The next day, it was $1.19 on December 21st. Now, I'm going to show you just how fast all this can happen in digital assets. From December 21st, look at this, $1.19. And then by December 29th, it was $2.21. And then by January the 7th, it was $3.38. And I believe that that is all chump change compared to where we're headed, because I think that the world is now ready. I think that the central banks and the powers that be are now ready for the digital asset space. I think they were not ready back then, and I've always wondered if that run up from late December to January was some sort of a test with XRP. Who knows? But this is the way it happened before. I believe the way it happens next is going to far exceed that. Okay, now let's talk about the big picture. Something was brought to my attention this morning, and I'll show it to you, that I wanted to cover with you. This is from Riz XRP, and he sent me this tweet. This is from Jeremy Hogan, who's the official attorney that talks about the SEC versus Ripple case of the Digital Asset Investor channel. That is not a title he asked for. It's just a title I gave him when I talk about him. He says, I'm prepping the SEC versus Ripple hearing and did a deep dive into some docs. And look what I found. It's the SEC stating in a public document the digital currency company called Ripple Labs. That's an SEC quote. Apparently the SEC agreed with FinCEN at least back in 2016. The SEC must now explain to the court how a digital currency transformed to a digital security. That explanation is a part of the batch of documents the parties will be fighting over today. P.S. Happy Tuesday. Sorry, it's quoted at the top of page 2. Anyway, so I looked at the document he provided here. Now, so the gist, he's telling you right here what is interesting. The SEC, in their own words, called it a digital currency. So now they have to explain how it became a digital security. And they won't be able to do that because the whole premise of the SEC case is from Jay Clayton on down being disingenuous, in my opinion. So here's the deal. I'm not wanting to focus on that because when I looked at the document he provided, I saw something else that I had never seen. As you go down, this is where he says it mentions Ripple Labs. It says a digital currency company called Ripple Labs, okay? So if you go up here, this case, this is what caught my attention. Securities Exchange Act of 30, in the matter of Matthew T. Mellon II. We've talked about Matthew Mellon on this channel before, and this is where things get interesting to me. Because Matthew Mellon was, at the time, it says here that he was an advisor. We knew that he was an advisor to Ripple Labs. This is the part I didn't know. Have you noticed during this SEC lawsuit, and I even brought it up in a tweet when it first happened, about something about how the digital currency, the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and it's got the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and I've said it for a long time, they've got all the cast of characters that are friends of Ripple's. We've seen Christian Carlo on there. The lady that runs it is Perianne Boring. She's got a resume that leads her all the way back to the White House. She was a White House intern, I believe, and then eventually worked for some people in Congress. then goes to form the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Here's what I did not know. Matthew Mellon served as the chairman of the Chamber of Digital Commerce. From approximately November 5th, 2012 through approximately January 24th, 2014, he was a member of Mediant's board of directors. I don't know that. But anyway, he served as the chairman of the Chamber of Digital Commerce. So if you're out there asking yourself, well, who's Matthew Mellon? First, let's look at this. Chamber of Digital Commerce taps Matthew Mellon to help ease Bitcoin's banking woes. Mellon, who will serve the chamber on voluntary basis, has long been involved in the Bitcoin industry, having helped CDC President Perry N. Boring told CoinDesk that Mellon's efforts will help strengthen the industry as a whole, noting the digital asset industry has serious challenges to grow and overcome. From Washington to Wall Street, Matthew Mellon has the experience, knowledge, Okay? So it's all Bitcoin. They're talking about Bitcoin. What does Matthew Mellon have to do with Ripple? I'll show you if you've never seen it. Mellon Banking airs new crypto fortune, almost $1 billion in Ripple's XRP. So this guy was back there. He was running the Chamber of Digital Commerce. And as I was mentioning a minute ago, did you notice how quiet everybody at the Chamber of Digital Commerce got when the SEC lawsuit was announced? We haven't heard anything out of all these people. Remember, these are the people that have been doing the virtual conferences. We've seen Tom Emmer in these virtual conferences. We've seen Chris Giancarlo. We saw Tom Emmer even come on there and with Brad Garlinghouse and say that he thought XRP is not a security. And then the Chamber of Digital Commerce gets very quiet. And by the way, I believe the Chamber of Digital Commerce has everything to do with what's about to happen in the entire world changing. And they have everything to do with Ripple too. And everybody who are the most powerful people in this whole thing. And Bitcoin is a freaking ruse. And I've always thought that. Look at this. Mellon, so this is somehow Matthew Mellon pops up and all of a sudden he's an advisor at Ripple back in the day, like 2015, 16. He's running the Chamber of Digital Commerce. He's the chairman. He pops up and then he eventually died of, I think it was like a drug overdose. And he had what was worth $1 billion worth of XRP. Okay, now let's look at the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Who all is in it? Accenture, Investor, and Ripple. You'll see all the names we've talked about on this channel. BNY Mellon. And you know, Matthew Mellon just happens to be a BNY Mellon heir. BNY Mellon, who just happens to have two of their retired executives on the board at PolySign, which we're not allowed to talk about and is a very big secret. Then as you go down, there's DTCC. We've got Goldman and the boys, JP Morgan. All these guys have to benefit. IBM. We've got, and this is the executive committee, we've got Ripple. Then as you go down, we've got the CME Group, an early investor in Ripple. We've got the Digital Currency Group, an early investor in Ripple. We've got everybody who's anybody. Oh, there's Stellar. And you know, when they have their, if you go back and you look, when they have their conferences that Brad Garlinghouse has been in, I've always thought it was interesting that they call it the Parallel Conference, and that the logo for the Parallel Conference is literally almost identical to, it's like flopped over, the Stellar logo. But anyway, everybody who's involved in this game is there, and all of these people are members. Now, here's what I also remember. Remember Bretton Woods 75? And this will come into play. I'm going to go over this with you too. Bretton Woods 75, it was like an anniversary of Bretton Woods, okay? And remember, this guy, and I'm about to show you his video. The fourth turning is what he refers to it as. Now, we've been listening to all the Christine Lagardes, the IMF, the World Bank, all these people for all these years on this channel. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is Perry Ann Boring from the Chamber of Digital Commerce. This is when she was at Bretton Woods 75. I've shown you this before. I'm going to show you again because there are a lot of people that are new here. That I want you to understand that it's not just that XRP just hit $1. I want you to understand what this really is that you own and where this is all going. This is the entire world changing. In this clip, she's doing a sound money debate. They're talking about the U.S. status as the world reserve currency. And remember, the backdrop is we're supposed to all believe that China has this lead in digital assets, in the digital asset space, and the U.S. is playing from behind. And I've told you all along they are not playing from behind. That's the impression everybody wants to give you. Listen, this is her section of this sound money debate at Bretton Woods 75.
It was in the 1980s that all industrialized nations moved to floating currencies, meaning no gold backing. So again, just a few decades ago, we had a very, very different system than what we're all using today. So much has happened. There's absolutely no way that the status quo will remain. And yes, that is a poke at you, Greg. Change is the only constant in life. And our global monetary system is incredibly sick, and there's symptoms of this all around us. Global debt is at unsustainable levels. Global trade wars are escalating. Inflation is on the rise around the world. We're over-leveraged. We're hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt, and central banks are not equipped to deal with these consequences. Adjusting interest rates and printing more money are not going to fix these problems. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. To steal a quote from Albert Einstein, a paradigm shift will emerge, and cryptocurrencies are most well-positioned to be that paradigm shift, and in fact, they already are. Just look at what's happened in the past couple of weeks. In response to Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency project, governments and central banks around the world are feeling threatened. For the first time in history, the sitting president of the United States of America tweeted about Bitcoin. Just a few days after that, the US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, he held a press conference about cryptocurrencies, and he stated that the Treasury takes very serious the role as the US dollar as the world reserve currency and will continue our efforts to protect our country. This is what it's about. Our country's leadership fully recognizes what's at stake here, and they will fight to the bloody death to keep China and corporations from removing the US dollar as the world reserve currency status.
Oh, they will. Well, we've been led to believe that they're not even thinking about it, and China's just gotten ahead of us. I've not believed that. Now, these tweets have happened in the last 48 hours. This is Raoul Pal. This is that guy who, he was a Goldman Sachs guy. He's very smart. No dummy. I want you to see what he says. He's retweeting Janet Yellen's tweet, which she almost wrote a book. And she almost wrote a book of tweets here because she knows how symbolic what she's about to do is. He says, remember my Bitcoin Life Raft video? And I'll get to that in a minute. It was prompted by talk from the IMF of a new Bretton Woods. Well, here is Janet Yellen talking of the same. The general idea, as far as I understand, is a global fiscal initiative to drive concerted global growth whilst keeping FX stable. Now, he goes on down here and he says, basically he says, and the global growth could be unexpected surprises. Stimulus drives economies to modernize, digitize, and retool the future. It is possible, but far from certain. But I think that the bet of Bitcoin and technology investing, including digital assets, will be the best way to prosper. I do too. I believe they're intentionally getting us to look at this flashy Bitcoin while they all know it's the other. And it's not just one. It's not just XRP. I believe XLM's a part of it too. But he says, the fourth turning is upon us. Expect everything to change. I get the feeling the next 10 years will be nothing like the last 30, and the asymmetric risks are now skewed to the upside and not downside, but downside risks are not eliminated, of course. And he's retweeting Janet Yellen's tweet. Look at what she says. As I prepare to meet with my colleagues from around the world this week at the IMF and World Bank spring meetings, I find myself thinking back to the policymakers who gathered in Bretton Woods a year before I was born to define our post-war order. She's talking about this new world order right there in front of your face. Now, I want to play you a clip. This is his Bitcoin Life Raft video. And by the way, I don't know if I'll get hit with copyright here. If I do, I'm going to take it out. But you can go to Real Vision Finance. Go give him a subscribe too. He deserves it. I don't know if I'm logged in here or not. Actually, I'll subscribe in a little bit. The Bitcoin Life Raft, the end of monetary and fiscal policy as we know it. I want you to listen to this clip and what he says.
More. So then we start getting the ECB talking about a central bank digital currency, a digital euro or e-euro. Well, that's interesting. Why are they doing that? Next.
No. While he's talking, I want to remind you of a little thing called the Raoul Pal. It's a private ledger for central banks launching CBDCs. And remember, Ripple has said over and over again that they're working with 50 plus central banks around the world. Now listen to what he's saying.
The IMF, out this week, papers about digital currencies. Then we've seen it from the Department of Justice in the US. We've seen it from the agreement in the US for certain banks to custody Bitcoin and other digital assets.
By the way, Christine Lagarde has said that central banks will not be custodying Bitcoin.
Them to come into the system. We've seen a whole bunch of these things, and the IMF tomorrow on Monday, so by the time you see this, will have had a speech about this, a whole panel, including Jay Powell. The Cleveland Fed has written about it, and many others. People are talking about it everywhere. The drumbeat is getting louder. They're going towards central bank digital currencies. So what does that mean? Surely currency is digital now anyway. I mean, you can pay with your credit card, you can transfer money. Well, this is very different. Right now, to transfer money, you go through the banking system. Digital currencies are the central banks operating directly to you. So you have an account with a digital wallet with the central bank. So why do you need banks, do you ask? Well, I'll come on to that in a bit too. It's a complicated world and we don't quite know where it's going. But okay, so we've got the central bank digital currency. And if you see the nice fluffy way the IMF have dressed it up, it's, well, we've got a cross-border payments platform so you don't have to use those awful wire transfer systems.
Have you heard any of that language anywhere recently?
Yes. But it also means that people don't need the SWIFT transfer system.
Who's been saying that they were effectively replacing SWIFT for the last 3 years? That's Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple, over and over and over and over.
Which is what creates the backbone of the US dollar. Now, I'm not dollar bearish yet, and I think it will morph into that. I'm actually still extremely dollar bullish. We'll come on to the dollar a bit more in due course as well. But when we look at this, they're trying to create payment rails, so they say.
Who's been trying to create payment rails? That is Ripple.
And that's great. We need to be able to just instantly transfer from our mobile phone from one person to another. I can send money to my mum in Spain, she gets it instantaneously, like it works for Bitcoin. Beautiful. But that's not the only reason. As I said, SWIFT is another big reason. The reason why people like China want to get off the SWIFT payment system and the global monetary system based around the US dollar.
Exactamundo, folks. There's always been a plan. And then Real XRP Boy put this one out. This is a clip from the Digital Currency Wars held at Harvard in 2019. And that's of course Gary Gensler sitting there, and the girl sitting beside him, or the lady sitting beside him, is that, I believe, that Neha Narula, who's with the MIT Digital Currency Initiative, right?
A little bit worried about right now is what I'm hearing around this table is that everyone's okay with the status quo. And I think, given what we've just seen happening with SWIFT, we have to come to terms with the fact that U.S. electronic transaction systems have not evolved fast enough to keep pace with the demand for retail online digital payments and more sophisticated types of financial transactions. And they also haven't evolved fast enough to stay secure in this increasingly digital world where our enemy's cyber tactics are becoming more and more advanced. So the old system just isn't cutting it anymore. And unfortunately, the trajectory of that is that it's just going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse. And so, yes, we see China with the yuan, but the competitiveness of the US dollar is a matter of national security, and we have to take this seriously and continue to innovate. Today, in 2021, we are still in a place where the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. The US dollar has incredible importance, and it allows us to enact monetary policy and to weaponize SWIFT, as Gary put it. However, that could change if suddenly another currency becomes more interesting and more viable. So we have to keep pace with this innovation.
There are no coincidences, folks. Gary Gensler's not sitting there by just happenstance. This guy knows exactly what the plan is. I've always thought that. He knows what the plan is. I don't know how this thing unfolds exactly, but I know that they've been planning this for a long time. I want to remind everybody, in the top of the description of this video, one of my sponsors, Kava, you've got to go and vote on the proposal for the what do they call it, the hard upgrade, because in order to do that upgrade, it has to be voted on, because it is a decentralized system. So go and there's a whole write-up that tells you exactly how to vote and everything involved in it, and I'm putting this link in the top of the description of this video. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that XRP is right at $1 right now, and nobody thought that it was going to happen. It is at exactly $1 as I say this. Thank you for listening.